I've been a member of Money Boot Camp for a year, although I have known of Denise's work and deeply respected her since probably when I started, somewhere around, I started in 2008, and I remember starting to see her around maybe 2011, 2012, when I was invited to a Kendall Summerhawk event. And yeah, and then I saw her work and I was like, yeah, shit, yeah, she's gonna, she had the it factor. I was like, but I did not enter her work until I was doing some deep dive abundance consciousness work in my own process, which started for me in 2021. So what it looked like as a summary was we were having some struggles financially and we weren't getting consistent inflow energetically. It was up, down, like feast or famine cycle, which a lot of owners talk about. And I was coming into an awareness that is resonant with a conversation of stress. And because my work in the world is to move people that are addicted subconsciously on a neurological level to adrenaline and stress into their greatest masterful, powerful peace energetically, to peel away that conversation, I realized I had this business that was still operating from a level of consciousness of stress financially. And in order to get it to the next level, I couldn't do that anymore. It had to be very steady, gradual, like peaceful energy. And that looked like what my business balance sheet looks like too, right? And I was ready to accept that I had to be open to learning more and growing more in my relationship with money as an energy if I was going to create that through my business. So it's fun to share, I didn't like follow her for years. It's like I knew of these different teachers, right, in the space. And you can kind of like, especially being a very high sensing person, like you can feel like I've always been a person where I don't need the words. As soon as they're in my space, I can feel their energy. And I know, like, I knew this was like, she was an expanding being. Like I was like this way back when I first saw her work, I was like I'm going to see this person 8 years later. Like I knew it. And you just know that with certain people. They're meant for something. They're here to birth something as a channel. And I could sense that about her. And that humbly, I also always knew that about me, my own level. I'm not like her level, but like I knew that something was happening through me. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't about me. It was bigger than that. And so when she came back into my space, it's now like, it's not like 2012, 11. It's now 11 years later, which is double ones, the 1, the master number, right? It's like a powerful number, right? So I was sitting reading, like I said, another abundance consciousness teacher's work, but that person comes more from the head than the body, from the energy. And then boom, Denise came right after her and it was body head. And I'm like, oh yeah, I get her language because that's what I teach. So what really struck me though about her work. So I was in planning in January to go into Money Boot Camp of this year. What is it? 2022. And she was doing a challenge in the fall of 2021. And I had already started, like I felt my body tell me to do this massive clear out in my house in like July of 2021. It was just like, get rid of everything. And I'm like, really? Why? Like, no, get rid of everything. And like, I've just learned, you don't question that. Like literally, so I started gutting my house because I looked around and was like, I've spent so much of my energy on my business. I haven't been nourishing myself or my family at all. And like, it's not in alignment in the space. And so I went into this really deep thing. And then boom, here comes this challenge, like, 2 months into that, where it was like, hey, guess what we're doing? We're doing a major like energetic declutter challenge. I was like, all right, let me ride this wave, right? Because this is awesome. So I did this challenge and you guys knocked it out of the park. It was like, and I'm telling you, I've done I've done $25,000 masterminds. I've been blessed to work with a lot of teachers. And just you guys were top notch on the business experience of the way, like, and yet you deliver it with so much heart and so much humility. That was it for me, because like I can see in Denise, she's very balanced in the masculine and feminine. And what I mean is like, she's a very powerful being, but it sounds like you're just talking to your friend over a cup of coffee or tea. Like she doesn't attach to that, the ego. even though she knows she can, at her core, she knows she could bring it. She knows she could bring it, right? Like, but she's so humble about what she's doing, and she's real and authentic. And that was why I started sniffing around, because like, I'm came from competitive athletics. Like I've got a lot of high performance zhuzh in my background, and I'm peeling away the ego and authenticity, and like finding the balance between relatability and authenticity, and credibility and leadership, right? And her energy was so attractive to me in that sense. And just like, oh my gosh, she makes it like so easy. It was just like, nah, don't pay attention to the business of doing business. Like, let's just, whatever. Okay, shelf that for now. Yeah, we got to do that, but clean your house out. Like, and you're going like, your mind's going like, wait, I'm like 14 years old. I got to do a big launch. I got to do all the things. It's like, no, get your energy in check. Like, yeah, do that. But this has to be the foundation. You matter. And I heard this conversation through her of worth, that it was like, I didn't make me realize like, I've been really not honoring myself, because I've been for so long, like, oh my God, people are dying from thyroid disease. Like, I know a way to fix this. I got to help them. Like coming from this energy of like, it's my, like, over attaching to the energy. Like, it's my responsibility. I have this thing that can help them. I need to get out, like that space. And I was ready to let go of that and be like, you know what? No, I have the thing, but they're not my responsibility, and I'm over attaching. And in that, I'm taking away their power to make their own conscious choice to heal. Right. And so I was in this space of like letting go of that, and like, hey, wait a minute, I haven't been in this equation at all. And here was Denise showing up, like, and I just saw like, oh my God, I've seen where this woman came from when I first saw her to now. And I also used to do branding PS. So like, I could tell the evolution. I worked professionally in branding, creative, and agencies. And I'm like, when you know that, in the background, how much energy and investment someone had, and evolution they put into not only their personal work, but their craft and their creation. And I was just like, I have a lot of respect for what she's created. And so I just wanted to go on the ride with the challenge. And then I decided to just jump in. I'm like, why in the mind am I holding back from Money Bootcamp? Why do it? Because you have the timeline. I got to wait till January to do it. My mind was saying, and here I am in this chair. I'm like, okay, it's happening. Just go in. So I decided to jump into Money Bootcamp in October of 2021. And essentially it's been right over a year for me now, a year and like a month since I've been in Money Bootcamp. Not really. I wouldn't say any hesitations at all. In fact, it's interesting that you asked that question, because there was no attachment to that energy at all. You're like bringing my consciousness, and then that energy, that wasn't in my consciousness at all. It was very clear. The answer was, this was where I was supposed to be. And it was just an easy yes. There was no energy in the space that I had to wrangle with, or it was like, oh, this is home. What does it look like? And in relation to what I've been doing in Money Bootcamp, so what it's looked like is I've actually, on a tactical level, I have more than doubled my revenue from last year when I was struggling to this year. And here's what's fantastic about that. All I have done is two things. So this is like, right? Like, this is so good for me to receive. This is exactly what I needed to receive. I've stayed in the room. I've gived and received in your community of incredibly powerful women at all points on their trajectory of sharing and engaging in their soulful gifts. It's irrelevant where their starting and their end is. It's irrelevant. It's just that they're living from their truth. And I've gone into the group, because that's for me, when I'm in groups, I like participating, I like giving and receiving. I think that's a throwback to my work as a national level athlete. Like engagement is important to me energetically when I make a commitment to something, and that's a form of engagement. And the third thing that I have done is decluttered. I have not stepped past the first coursework handout, because like with like looking at the areas you can like clean up and declutter. because I was already on this path of like intuitively, like I need to declutter, but it's not like, yeah, hey, like one thing, like get it out of the room. Like I was on like a depth of declutter. It was like, go through the house, like everything, realign it, redecorate, remove everything, open the space up, open it up because expansion is coming. Like that was coming through really clear. And it's taken me this entire time to do that. And instead of going into the mind and being like, oh, this is not okay, I need to get in the coursework, like, and judging, I've just go back into my body and body's like, nope. Okay, if it's going to take a year, it's going to take what it's going to take. It's the same way that we do our work, right? Like people like, when am I going to heal by? Can you tell me when I'm going to heal by? And you're like, I don't know. It's going to take what it's going to take. Right. And that's the kind of person I am. I don't question the commitment. But that's what's so mind-blowing is like, I haven't consumed your coursework from the mind. I've just been being in the energy that you have curated in your community so beautifully over the years. And the level of energy, like intention that your team brings to your creation, it, like I said, it's like bar none compared to any other communities I've been in. I love it. There's so much value in your community. And I love being in that and giving to it and receiving from it. And yeah, I've just been like being in a really deep declutter and going to her calls. So I do go to the calls and I don't make it about, oh, I have to be at the call. You know what I mean? Like I don't make it processy planning. I'm like, okay, just like if this month it fits in, I go and I do the tapping and I do the journaling and I journal what's coming up. Like, what are the beliefs? Like, what am I attaching to, and and the app. Oh my God, the app is freaking game changing. Sorry. Like that is the best thing ever. Like you can't explain, like I'm blessed to be in a pair in my business. My husband and I are in business together. He is the left brain. I am the right brain. And so at this point, he handles the finances and he has this total methodical, systematic, linear relationship with money. I do not have that relationship with money. And before the boot camp, I kind of like hid from the with money. Cause it was like, I'm what do you call it? Alchemist. So like, I was laughing so hard when she did the talk about the alchemist because it's so true. Like I put myself in states of stress because I'm like, oh, I can produce it. Don't worry about it. Like I put my back against the wall because I'm like, oh, I'll just produce more money. Right. Like, so I've done that too. And I joined SMA, but I didn't do your SMA coursework yet. I've just been around some of the SMA related videos and learning that I'm an alchemist and just like learning that was so like game changing that we have an individual energetic relationship with our money. Like I wasn't doing any of these things a year ago. Like I love my little app. Like right now I'm taking a little time off for December, but like before I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I literally, oh my God, I have to tell you, the day before this recording, I was sitting on the phone and on my wall, I have a whiteboard that I draw on over there that I never look at. I didn't look at it. I looked at it probably this month last year. The first thing on the top of it, it says is run 3 patient openings for 7 total patients each in 2022 to fill 21 patients in our top level premium program at $9,000 and produce $189,000. You know what's in my CRM right now? $187,000 in change. And I literally hadn't seen that thing. I was like on a business call, like right now, and I'm like talking on the thing and I'm talking to my team and I look up and I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Like it was just like writing it out and getting conscious of it, like putting in my space and then going in my little app and like tracking the money. And like, it like became like, it's almost like gamification. I was like, oh, this is fun. And I started making up songs like, I know how to make money. And it just became like bringing that energy of joy to money and like not seeing it this like separate thing, but it's actually just energy and like we're interacting with it. It was just, and seeing that it could come, see again, like it could come in from all, it's not just even the business, it comes in from other places. Like it just comes in if we just are open to receiving. That's like, I mean, it's transformational. I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I don't think it can be realized in the mind how much it's changed. Like I knew on my balance sheet how much it's changed, but yeah, I have more than doubled, just over doubled my revenue, from 2020 to 2021 and literally have not even dived into the coursework yet. I've just been doing the energetic pieces. So it's really powerful. And now, full disclosure, I had one other program that I was in where it was a small, like, it was receiving support from a small group of women, but there was nothing tactical in there. Same philosophies about having a relationship with money. There was nothing, no one told me like, go do this with your business, go build a funnel, make sure you have this tact. Like, there was nothing like that. It was just complementary to this and kind of, a kind of a hive of a small group of, and I'm sure, and I know many of your women in your audience are doing other things, but it's been tremendous. It's kind of mind blowing because I have to tell you, I have invested a lot of money energetically in other programs. And I'm just like beside myself that I've received that much transformation from something that I've invested $1,099 for. And like, I feel like I need to fly and give Denise something. Like, I need to fly to Australia and give her like, it's like, what? But yeah, I know she's teaching me like that, like, this is something I'm going through now in my own evolution of my own business, that like, doesn't all have to be high ticket to receive expansive experiences, right? And that I can also put that on offer to the world and actually my impact can expand exponentially. And so I'm receiving that lesson just even through observing her, which is just, I'm so grateful for her in so many ways. I love, because I'm that person, and we draw those people to us. Those are like the real like heady people that are all about like, I need to consume more information. And we get them like to understand that more information is not transformation. Embodying the information and the energy is the transformation. Whether we're healing our relationship with money or healing our relationship with our thyroid, it doesn't matter. That's the truth. Right. And so that's why I resonate a lot with her work, because her philosophies are very similar to mine and like what we teach in that sense. Right. So I absolutely like come to come to the experience. Don't come to the course, come to the experience, come to the energy and just sit in the energy. Just, that's what I chose to do. And the thing is, maybe if you're earlier on in your journey and like 1997 feels like a stretch to you because you haven't been stretched yet more past that. And I'm not saying that statement in judgment, because that's the trajectory of every business owner. We all start somewhere. And when I started 14 years ago, not 197 felt like a lot, so I get that. But remember that attaching, when you're making it about the investment only, you're attaching to the money, and you're not from an energy of fear, and you're not going to heal your relationship with your money if that's your come from. You have to remember that it's just energy, and that stretch. It's just like flexing a muscle, right? Like when we go to the gym, same thing, like, in the beginning, it doesn't look like a muscle. We got to keep flexing it in order for it to like grow, right? And so you're not investing in Denise, you're investing in yourself. That's the truth. And it's just your reflection of, do you feel that you're worthy of that? And if you don't, that's okay, breathe through it. And are you ready to at least be open to that you want to learn how to feel worthy of that? And if that's true for you, then I would just say, do not hesitate and get in the energy of the space, because the level of people that and the level that they're playing at in this space, I don't know, and I don't say this egoically, but I've worked with some of the best business mentors in our field in integrative medicine and functional medicine and functional nutrition. We've been in invite only high-end mastermind groups that only take the top doctors, the top nutritionists, and like very expensive things. And like, there's very rare instances where you can get in a space where the investment isn't attached to the level of business that you're at, and you are receiving from the energy of the people that are in the room. If you can just be open to that, like, you don't have to know from the mind what they're doing, because they've been working at their business for a long time. So like when you're in that group, it doesn't matter if you're on day 1, day -10, right? Or you're like on day 100,250, like you're receiving, that's a collective energetic hive. And it's funny, oh my God, I used that word and it had nothing, it wasn't any consciousness related to the bee because I'm in another group where they were talking about like the hive. It's like the people where the energy is, it expands. So like you're investing 1997, but you're receiving like from women in business that have been, and not just in business, that have been working in forms of energetic work, that are cultivating their energy in exchange for money in their business for a very long time, and able to receive from that and also give to it and learn from it. And that exchange is freaking priceless. Sorry, I'm reverting to my like in New Jersey for a second. It's priceless. It's like, and there's very rare business like opportunities, where you will be able to be in a group like that, because usually they're formed on the phase of where you are in your development and what that reflects like on your balance sheet and what you've created so far in your online business in terms of team and revenue growth, gross revenue, types of launches you've done, all that stuff, right? The tactical. It's just such a tremendous investment. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, honestly, I gotta be careful what I say, because I can't believe it. It's like, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, but she mentioned at one point, she was like, we may not have this community anymore. And I about like start crying. I'm like, no. I was like, I know every business involves it. I'm just like, this is the most amazing experience. So it's just, there's no, it's hard for me to answer, to speak to somebody that's attaching to fear around that investment, because I'm so far removed from that now. And I don't say that in the wrong way, but I would just say breathe through it and realize that every business owner has to start somewhere, and you do have to invest to become a successful business owner, period, end of story. There is no business owner walking on this planet that did not have to invest in their personal development and their energetic development in order to expand their energy, in order to expand the energy they receive. There's none. And it just keeps, you just have to keep going into the depths of personal and energetic development. It never ends. There's not an end to that journey. So join us on the ride. Like real, like she is who she is, and authentic. And she's like your best buddy. It's so weird. Like, I've never met the woman and I feel like I know her, and I feel like she knows me somehow. Like, honestly, like, when she did the video recently on her challenge of like make more money, like, I was dying. I was like, because like all my life I've lived in my house and I make up songs, and I'm like, oh my God, we're like the same person. Like, I sing songs, they like come out about things I'm doing in my business, and it's just like a weird thing I do. And I'm like, there's someone else that does this. I was like, and it was so funny and just fun. And like, as a teacher, she's very easy to receive from, because, and this goes back to your last question, is there's no restriction. She encourages you to be in the fluidity without fear. And that's what I love about the course, because it's not like, oh, you have to do module 1 and 2 and 3 in order. Like, you go in these courses, like, no, don't get it, and they drip it. And it's just like, no, you're just hearing the energy, and like, allow yourself to be led intuitively through and receive what you're called to. And she didn't use those words, but that's the way I heard her, when the way she shares her creation. And that's the way I've received it. And it's kind of like, wait a minute, oh my God, it's been a year and a month that I haven't gone through the coursework. What do you mean? Like, and I realize now that that's just judgment. Like, that's who cares? Like, I'm where I am, and I'm receiving from the process and the energy in where I'm at right now. And that's very loving and honoring. And she just encourages that. And I don't know how to describe her. It's mind blowing, because she really flips the switch, man. It's like all the things that I've learned from different teachers in the space, like, it's like a total quantum shift of like, nah, we're going to do it this way. And she's not saying that, but I'm saying like, that's what I'm receiving from her energetically. And it's like, it can be easy. What do you mean it can be easy? Like, it doesn't have to be in the hustle. Like, what? Like, you don't have to like be killing yourself to hit like multi 6-figure something. Like, it's mind blowing. Like, I don't really know how to put it into words more than that how she is as a teacher, but it's just so refreshing. it's for maybe that's it. It's like so refreshing because I know I can ground in her space and this space that you guys have created. Like whether it's listening to her on a call, it's like so easy and simple to receive. And it's like brings you back to who you are. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. It's like where you go up into all these other business things and it gets you up in the hall in the head and it's all tactical. And like you come here and it's like, it's just so grounding and it's like acceptance. And I feel like she's family. Like, I don't know how to explain her that. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful, over attaching way, like weirdo way. Like I'm saying that in like, when I'm in her space and like the space that she creates, it's like, oh my God, I'm not this like weirdo empathic person. There's other people like me, like that. In fact, there's a lot of us, like we're not like this small microcosm, and we can live free in our purpose and our passion and receive powerful, celebratory, supportive, encouraging. This is one of the only groups that I've ever been in. There is zero competition energy at all. It is completely absent. Don't bring it in the space because I can tell you, I know it'll be like shoo shoo. And I don't mean from your team. It's like, there's no way for it even to be present. There's no judgment. There's no, you're there, I'm here. None of that at all. Everybody's like celebrating each other as women and what we're doing. And you can be fully seen and witnessed for who you are. And it's beautiful. Like it's like the place I know I can go to and also celebrate certain things. Like the journey of being a business owner is really lonely. It can be lonely and hard. It's not for the faint of heart. Like, when you have something on your heart that you want to birth and share, and your voice and your soul that you want to birth and bring out in the world, like there's a lot of people that don't understand that, and they want to live by a more, mass consciousness approach, I guess. And you're supported there. And it's a tremendously valuable community energetically. Like, I know I can say things in there that I can't say anywhere else. And I can be heard and seen. I can receive support. I won't be judged. Even the uncomfortable things and the things that you celebrate about being a business owner. Like, I mean, I just realized what I processed through my business. And even though I haven't produced a 7-figure business yet in my business, I have processed more than multiple 7 figures through my business. And that's like a big thing to go like, what? Like when you're evolving your relationship with money, there's just so many layers to it that you can't know, that you're processing around like family and like friends and things that you're like fears, like, oh, people are going to judge me and I'm going to lose friends, or like, there's so many things that happen on the journey. And like, it's like one of the only places you can go and go like, hey, I get it. There's other people that are like, I get it. And like, and get not only encouragement, but like support. And it doesn't really cross over into advisement, because I know you guys are really particular about being, managing what happens in the space. And that's important. And I love that you guys do that. But it's energetic. It's focused on the coursework and the energetic support and the energetic purity that's there. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing. Because it's just a reflection of your ability to receive, right? And I mean, in like what I work, I talk a lot and teach about the masculine and feminine, right? And when you're dealing, particularly like our person is a very high performance oriented, success oriented, growth oriented, that's energy of like drive, right? Like there's a whole conversation in there of like, not getting attached to like, oh, if I come from the feminine, that's weakness, or that's like, and getting out of the masculine is like, it's just so important. Being open to being more balanced is a huge part of our ability to receive based on what we're putting out there as the tuning fork, right? Like, so you won't break certain levels of the glass ceiling if you're not constantly in the mindset and energetic work, without question. There's a reason why even in what we do, we attract like the 1% of the 1%, very, like Broadway producers, Olympic athletes, like, because we have to be, if we want to get to high levels in anything, our healing, our energy, our bank account, doesn't matter, our sharing our gifts, we have to be constantly in that personal development work of like our soul's journey and the connection of the mind to the heart and what is going on between these two things. And it's no coincidence that the thyroid's right between them. It's like, it's a big part of how we can expand into our purpose. It's a big part. And so I don't know anyone that I'm blessed to have in my inner circle and know as colleagues in my professional work, and in very advanced level of, thyroid and autoimmune healing or energetic work, that aren't regularly doing something of that nature and investing in that level in themselves. Yeah. Rinse, lather, repeat, right? Like, I feel like coming to the end of this year and reflecting, which is a beautiful, I mean, we're heading into winter solstice. This is the beautiful energy in December of reflection, right? Like, I'm always, as a personal practice, looking at, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do I want to bless and send out into the universe, and what's coming with me, and build, what do I want to build on in 2023. And for sure, I want to produce again what I did, but I'm actually looking to do more, like engage in more things with automation so that I can continue to reclaim my time for what I'm receiving, right, in my own energy and space. But I'm also looking to, and full disclosure, my mind's going, which is why I'm glad I'm in Money Boot Camp and other forms that I can ground in, is because my mind's going, oh, but you're not going to be able to do that. It was just a fluke, like, no, like I need to go like, oh, let's tap, like, let me work on that a little bit, and I want to say one caveat I didn't offer earlier is no ads, zero marketing, only outreach, producing a multi-6-figure doubling revenue from last year to this year. Like, that's another mind-blowing thing about your community, is like seeing people in there, and there's people that are way further ahead than me in their monetary like receiving, that are like, oh yeah, I don't do ads. And I'm like, and that's not me saying I'm not opposed to doing ads. In fact, I'm probably going to try some this year. But my point is simply that like you guys have people in there that are flipping the truth of what people say is possible in the online business world on its head, financially, and like in terms of receiving energetically, and success, levels of success, and growth, and abundance and impact, right? So, but for me, I want to replicate what I did this year, but automate that now. Like, okay, I proved that this works. I found what has worked for me in putting on one of my creations and core offers to the world. And then I'm going to expand into retreats, which I'm really, really excited about, because I want to start sharing, while our current offer, like our patient program, helps people more in the physiological and energetic fatigue and thyroid aspects of recovery and healing. I want to start putting on offer the containers where we can go into and work on, okay, what's happening in my subtle energy body, my neurological system, that is driving this attachment to stress as a conversation that's making me go into these fatigue cycles and patterns. And I really want to help people not only learn in those containers the knowledge they would need to become free of that, but go into the practices that can make them masterful at getting their energy systems to ground and calm down and move away from that story back to their power and peace, so they can not get sick again, essentially become entirely free from the dis-ease, thyroid and autoimmune dis-ease process, or that chronic cycle of burnout that we see a lot of high performance intuitive people land in. So that's what I'm going to be birthing in 2023, our retreat series. And that's for patients and practitioners. And also probably putting on offer like a smaller kind of entry level kind of course that I see, where there's a lot of like to prepare the mind and the energy for the journey of transformation more, that I see there's some opportunity there that people are often missing. So that's what's next. And I've learned through this journey, like there are other ways in my business I can look at it and receive. Like, it's not all about what's coming in profitability. Like, it's also like what's going out. What's going out, because it's not how much we make, it's how much we keep. And like, really looking at my relationship with money there and feeling more just empowered with it. And one thing I didn't share before is, not only did I, double our revenue, this was the first year in the history of my business in 14 years that I actually hit a new normal of my consistent monthly revenue. It wasn't up, down, like big push down, big push down. It was consistent, like revenue, like it was level the whole year for the most part, in a certain range of 5 figures almost every single month. And like I produce that without attachment to any other business. And for some of maybe people that are a little farther along, what I'm saying there is, I didn't have to co-market to make that happen. I did it just with the people that were in my space that I serve. And that was huge to me, because that was a goal of freedom. Like, I did not want to produce, I did not want to have to be attached to someone else's creation in order to reach people to produce and receive what I needed to expand my business. So it was completely sovereign. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was completely like, this is my creation. Like, I didn't need to get anything from anyone else to do that. I did that. And I received that. I only, it's just beautiful. So some people that are newer may not understand what I'm saying, but for those in the middle ground, or a little bit where they're getting into marketing methodologies, they'll understand what I'm saying. Because I don't have a design to have a business where it's relying on co-marketing or affiliate marketing. That doesn't light me up. So yeah, that was huge for me. Those were like big things. So now I just want to build upon that in 2023 and start adding the new creations and offers, and take that existing offer that's working and automate it as much as possible, so that I take my time and energy back and keep expanding, monetarily and energetically, while I actually keep reclaiming more of my own peace and space, so it can be easy. Well, I think we talked about, like, we've even connected, and we talked about I didn't go all the way back, like, about what the beginning was of our, Genesis story and our work. And like, it's just, it's humbling to like look back and be like, oh my God, like, I'm not where, I think this is what the mind normally does. Like, I'm not where I thought I would be. I'm not as far as I expect I would be, because I'm always like pushing myself, but I'm where I'm supposed to be, I guess. And that's like the truth, right? And so I think I would say just encouraging for anyone that's on the journey, like, the reality is that I've learned is, like, you're not alone. You do need to root and ground in a community, whether it's Money Group Camp or another. Like, what I will say is, don't try to do it alone. Like, don't do that to yourself, because the journey of wanting to become success, and I'm speaking to business owners. I know you guys have other people in your community that are just working on the relationship with money, but the majority of your community are women business owners, or who they are aspiring business owners, right? I don't have a business degree. I don't have a marketing degree. Like, I got really sick, almost died, and a solution came through me when the medical community failed me, and even the natural medicine community failed me, and all the pieces that were there before that time in my life. I knew that God had given me something really special to integrate and alchemize and have it come through me and put it on offer to the world, so they could go through very fast and transformatively these kinds of, healing experiences. And those were not easy decisions. I had to, at the time we went through a medical cost bankruptcy, I had to let go of so much of my former life that was no longer true. But at the time, it was a very traumatic experience to go like, okay, well, like, I'm trying to pursue my business, and I'm hearing like the costs built up so much for my thyroid and autoimmune disease, and all the mistakes that were made, both misdiagnosing me and mistreating me for so long, that when I figured out how to heal it we were up against like an $80,000 debt, and it was growing in interest. And we're like, and so anyway, as it grew, we ended up filing bankruptcy because it was 2009. We lost our house. Like everything was happening. I'm out of work sick, with this thyroid and autoimmune condition. And my husband, lost his job. It was just a very transformative time. And going through that, and then like coming out of that, I guess I just want to share is that I knew at every cell of my being that even everyone around me was telling me, go back to work. Just go back. Like, what are you doing? Just go back to your marketing job. Like, you had a good job. You had like everything in my soul was going, you have to heal. And there's something else after this, like that you're need to keep going, like keep going. So, this journey is not easy. People will come at you. They will judge you. You will lose friends. Like, and I'm not trying to make it feel that way. It's more like you have to release things as you step into your truth. But it's not easy to go through those things. And if you're trying to do it alone. And so just make sure that you tap into a community, because I did go through it alone. And I don't say this with ego at all. I'm not the average person from the mind. I have a degree in psychology. I've done very high level performance things. Like, I was coming from a foundation, like I can operate in isolation at a high level as an athlete. Like, there's not a lot of people that can do those things without support and a lot of people around them. Like, and even though I did it, it was very hard, right? I could ground in my spirituality. I could ground in the psychology. But I will say 2 years later, after walking through a bankruptcy, and this is what I wanted to share, I think we were even maybe talking about, I turned around and I had a 6-figure business, helping people avoid what I went through, the suffering and like the loss in their health and beating their thyroid disease and not going through the trauma financially and energetically and in their health of what I had to suffer through, like helping them bypass all that. Right. And then I turned around, and like a couple of years later, I had a business that put 7 figures through my business. Now, like I said before, it wasn't in the business in 1 year, but it was through the business. And like, what I'm telling you is that, like, in order to receive abundance, you have to accept your own abundance first. And that's what I was living in. I was like, I'm not going to live in the suffering. I'm not going to live with this disease. This isn't truth. I know that I can heal. Like, and I moved through it, like, just like, and like, it was just like, whew. And then the next thing I know, because I was coming from passion and power and even channeling anger in a positive way. Cause I was like, okay, they did this to me. I lost my first years of my marriage. I lost my house. I almost lost my life. Like, I lost my savings. I lost my career. Like, that's the state I was in. Right. And I'm not gonna like lose my life. Right. And I came through it and like went through this healing and powerful experience and this awakening of like what was possible, and then recreated everything, like recreated a new, what I was supposed to be doing in my work and my truth and living in my truth. And I share those numbers and that possibility. And that happened in like a couple years. We've been through challenging things since, because that's business at the end of the day. But open your mind to what's possible. But it's not just, we have to come from and be willing to step through the fear and take decisive action and put ourselves in and accept our abundance and put ourselves in places where we can receive support, and others are accepting their abundance and they're standing in their power and owning that truth. And they may not know right now what it is they're supposed to be doing in the world. But like, there's times in my business where I would have sat here and disclosed those figures to you, because I would have been like, and I realized that that's coming from judgment, like, because I'd be worried, oh, someone's going to judge me, da, da, da. If you're going to judge me because I'm freeing someone from thyroid and autoimmune disease, like in like 12 to 24 weeks, when doctors aren't, like, then game on, more and receiving for that and releasing them from a lifetime of potential prison, like of medications and disease, then that's good on you. That's all, you can do that. Like, no, because it's like priceless. Like, to me, that's like, we're giving people abundance. And in order to receive abundance in any form, healing, money, it doesn't matter, your soulful purpose. You have to accept that you are created as a divine creator and abundance is your truth. And if that feels a little awkward to like put on yet or wear as a piece of clothing or a hat or whatever, then just get around the people that are doing it until it does. And that's what you can do in Money Bootcamp, because that's what is in this community. It's just powerful, unapologetically powerful women who are also coming from love. They are not there in ego. They're not like, oh, look at me. I made this, they're there. The reason why they're abundant is because they're stepping into their gifts. They're honoring their God-given, divinely ordained gifts. They're developing them and they are putting them on offer to the world. And that's why they're receiving. I'm sure there's a few exceptions to the rule, but like the majority of people, that's what they're doing. They're coming from love and they're coming, in a powerful place, and they're not afraid to receive for that. And our abundance and what we're making on a balance sheet is just a reflection of where we are in our journey of accepting our power and how we are divinely created to live healed, whole, free, and fully expressed as a soul in the purpose that God put on your heart, and being willing to go in and discover what that is and unleash it to the world, right? And I'm not in any other communities where I resonate. Like, I feel there's so many people that are living at that resonance in your community. And that's who I am. And that's why I resonate so much with and who I draw in to me. And that's why I resonate so much also with your community, because that's who's there. Like, that's absolutely who's there. So energetically powerful people. Yeah.
If you're looking for expert training on money mindset, a supportive community, and mentoring to work on your money stories, I invite you to come work with us in Money Bootcamp. Our community is growing every day, and when empowered people come together and take control of our financial destiny, we really can change lives. Come and join us on this journey. Just click below, take a deep breath, and enroll in Money Bootcamp today. You'll get our amazing money mindset training, ongoing mentoring, and access to our beautiful, inspiring community. So then you can have the encouragement and accountability to make a breakthrough with your money. And you'll get support from all of our experienced mentors and live group coaching calls with me every single month. We will be with you every step of the way to help you create more abundance with less stress. So click below, take a deep breath, and just hit join on your registration. Make this investment in your dreams and get started now, so you can release your money blocks, increase your income, and surround yourself with amazing people invested in your success. I'll see you in Money Bootcamp. It's your time and you're ready for the next step.